I'm trying a new medication. My doctor recommended it. Said that it would help with things. It's a new drug, still in the testing phase. So they're putting me on a 10-day trial. Minimal side effects. Really, no risk. Or so they say. My doctor said that I should document any changes that I feel, good or bad, regarding my behavior. So I started this little diary. I feel kind of silly. I've never been the journal type. I just got home from the docks about 20 minutes ago. I'm about to take one of these little pills. I do feel a little nervous, despite his reassurances. I'm probably just paranoid, as usual. Anyway, here we go. Day 2. Well, I didn't sleep very well. I had headaches all night. The doctor said that that was a possible side effect. And other than that, I haven't noticed any other differences. I took some Advil around 4, and that seems to be helping. I'm about to make lunch. They say that I should take the pills on a full stomach. I'm glad that I don't have to go to work today. I think that after lunch I'm going to go take a nap. I'm tired and my head has finally stopped killing me. It's funny, this is the second entry that I've written today. Maybe actually I like doing this. Anyway, I'm gonna go to bed. Earlier I ate lunch, took my pill, and then passed out on the couch. I had some weird dreams. It's strange because I never have dreams. Anyway, it's almost midnight and I need to get some sleep. I'm going to try to make the most of Sunday and get an early start. Maybe go down to the lake. Hopefully it doesn't rain. Day 3. I had a weird day today. Everything was fine until I went to the lake. I took my pill around noon before I went. I don't know if that has anything to do with what happened. I don't see how it could. But regardless, the whole point of this journal is to record anything out of the ordinary while on this trial. So I went to the lake around 3. I brought my book and my towel and laid out on the shore. It was sunny and warm. A nice day. There were a few families there, mostly little kids and a few teenagers. Everything was going okay until, well, I heard this horn. Now you have to understand this lake is out in the middle of nowhere. It's a local secret. You have to take this awful dirt road through the woods to even get there. But once you're there, it's beautiful. A year ago, some of the locals dumped sand along the shore and have kept it groomed since then. It's like being at the ocean in the middle of a forest. So anyway, it's about 6 o'clock and the sun is about to go down and this horn starts blaring from the woods. It's distant and low, rumbling across the water from the far bank. It reminded me of one of those old Viking horns. Bewildered, I realized that I was the only one who seemed to hear it. I looked around, tearing my sunglasses off, and no one even blinked at the sudden noise. Well, after about 3 minutes, the horn finally stopped. After that, I decided that it was time to leave. I started packing up my car and I froze, one hand on the driver's side door. Across the lake, 3 figures were watching me at the water's edge. They were far away, too far away to make out their features. It looked like they may have been 3 men, but I couldn't be sure. Something was wrong with their faces, but no matter how hard I squinted, I couldn't see clearly. Thoroughly scared, I pulled my door open and I hopped in my car. As soon as I drove away, I could feel their gaze in my rearview mirror. Day 4. I don't know what to make of this. I'm going to call my doctor. I had more dreams last night. My head hurts. I take my pill a little before breakfast, but I'm wondering if I should have just held off. It seemed to make these headaches worse. I went to work today, but couldn't seem to concentrate. I feel like someone was watching me. I feel like there's someone watching me now. It's 4 a.m. I just woke up from a nightmare and I heard that horn again. I don't know if it was outside or in my dream, but It woke me up. I'm sweating like crazy, and it scared the shit out of me. I keep thinking I see things moving past my window. Day 5. Well, today was much better. I called my doctor and I told them all about the strange stuff. He told me that the headaches and dreams were probably just a side effect and nothing to worry about. He seemed skeptical about the other stuff, though. I told him everything, and God bless him, he listened to my ramblings. He assured me that it was probably just stress-related, but to contact him if things got worse. He reminded me that this wasn't an approved drug, but it was the best chance that we had of helping me. I'm going to suck it up. He said I just had to finish the 10-day trial and then we could reevaluate. I'm halfway there. Day 6. More dreams last night. I dreamed something was sliding around on my floor, like a shadow under my feet. Every time that I tried to move away from it, it would zip back under me. I crawled up on my bed and it slid to the wall like a dark piece of paper. And right before I woke up, I thought I heard giggling under my bed. When I got home from work today, something didn't seem right in my apartment either. My closet door in my bedroom, it was wide open. Now, I don't remember opening it this morning, but I guess that I must have forgot about it. But I thought that I made sure to close it tight. It's 4 a.m, and I'm fucking terrified. Something is giggling in my bedroom closet. I don't know why, but every ounce of me is just telling me to ignore it, and it'll go away. I'm writing this down to keep myself from going into a full-blown panic. Day 7. I'm sitting on my couch and wondering whether I need to call my doctor or not. I don't feel good. I took my pill. I don't know why. I have this feeling that if I just make it through the 10 days, everything will return to normal. I called out of work. I closed all the blinds. I just want to sit in the dark and not fall asleep. My head is still killing me. Something is really wrong with me. I think there's something standing on my balcony. Day 8. It's midnight and I haven't fallen asleep yet. I'm on my couch and haven't moved since yesterday except to take my pill. I can hear the horn again. It's distant and barely audible, but it's there. I think something is giggling in my bedroom. Day 9. I called my doctor today. I told him all about the terrible things that have been happening. And you know what he said? He said that I just had to finish the 10-day trial. That I needed to, or they would come to get me. And then when I asked him who, he just hung up. He seemed flustered and scared. What the fuck is going on? Who is doing this to me and why? I'm still sitting on my couch. I don't want to move. Work keeps calling me, but I don't care. I just need to finish this trial. Just be done with it. I think there's something in my bedroom. I can't see it because my door is closed, but I can hear it. It walks around on heavy feet and then giggles. I feel like if I just ignore it, it can't hurt me. God. I'm fucking terrified, though. Day 10. It is 3 a.m, and I'm still on the couch. Something just opened the bedroom door. I can feel it staring at me, but I refuse to look at it. I'm writing this down to keep my eyes away from it. My heart is beating so fast that I feel like I'm going to throw up. The apartment is dark, but I can see the long black of its form out of the corner of my eye. It's just standing there like it's waiting for me to acknowledge it. It's going to kill me if I do. I know it will. It just giggled at me. The childlike sound ripping through the darkness. What 8-foot thing makes a sound like that? Why won't it move? What does it want from me? There's something behind me, too. I won't look. I need to keep my hands busy and focused on this so I won't look. It sounds like there's 3 behind me. I just need to make it to the morning. I just need to make it until the sun comes up. Day 11. I made it. I suppose I don't even know what to say. I called my doctor and I told him that I finished the 10-day trial. Told him all about my horrible nighttime visitors. And you know what he fucking did? He started laughing at me. Big, loud, gut-busting laughter. And once he got himself under control a little bit, he told me that the pills were harmless. He told me that the pills were Tylenol. I sputtered, mind expanding with possible reasons to this revelation and reaction from him. And he started laughing again, and I asked him what the hell he was talking about. He said that the whole trial was bullshit. He said that it was a little game that he concocted for me. He said that there was no hope for me. He told me that a paranoid schizophrenic like myself, who suffered from chronic hallucinations, deserved to be in an asylum. He told me that there was no helping me and that he just wanted to play off my illness. Really wind me up, before recommending me to be institutionalized. I hung up to his howling laughter. My hands were shaking and sweating. I couldn't fucking comprehend it. I couldn't wrap my head around why he would do something like that. I thought that I was getting better. The sane are an entirely different kind of sick. I was always a spoiled kid. My parents were wealthy and decided to spend their money smothering their only son with an incredible childhood. I had it all. My playroom was insane, a huge TV, pinball machines, and every toy that you could imagine. It was awesome. And despite having so much, I wasn't a brat about it. I can say that now, having thoroughly examined my childhood. I loved to share my immense stash of stuff with my friends. I gave toys away, invited them over for pizza and movies, and all around was pretty generous. And on paper, I should have been a spoiled snob, but for whatever reason, I wasn't. Good genes, I guess. On my 9th birthday, I had a bunch of friends over. My dad rented a huge moon bounce for us and decorated our backyard with superhero apparel. I was going through a major phase. Tables were set up with punch and snacks, little finger foods to keep us from complaining until dinner. Balloons and banners were tied to every surface. My parents' way of establishing how loved I was. Music played from giant speakers my dad had set up in the back patio. My friends and I ran around and jammed out while waiting our turn on the moon bounce. My grandparents arrived a couple hours into the party, bringing with them a party gift. My grandmother informed me that she had purchased it at a yard sale the weekend prior. It was a giant, hollow plastic clown head. It seemed like one of those weird cheap toys from the 90s, something that was popular for a week before getting all of its units shelved. Its face was white and red circles lining the painted eyes. A smile was smeared on its lips, a big goofy grin that was also painted red. The nose was a bulbous orb of plastic that sat oddly on its face like a big gumball. As I turned over this strange gift in my hands, my grandfather handed me a plastic gold crown. He said that it was part of the game. Seeing my confusion, my grandmother laughed and explained what it was. She said that I was supposed to wear the clown head while my friends attempted to sneak up and crown me. I flipped the head over and saw serrated notches lining the bald dome where the crown went. I thought that it was pretty lame, but I didn't want to be rude. I dutifully slid the plastic clown head over my own, the interior hard against my temples. And as it settled over me, I realized that I couldn't see anything. Red light filtered through the plastic, but there was a concerning lack of eye holes. My grandfather chuckled as he watched me stumble around, hands outstretched so I wouldn't bump into anything. I asked why there were no eye holes, and he told me that it would be too easy for me to win the game. I had to rely on my ears to keep my friends at bay. He said that the game was called Crown the Clown, and I was beginning to understand the rules. It was like some weird version of Pin the Tail on the Donkey, but with a clown and a crown instead. My friends had gathered around to watch me, and soon they were laughing and calling out to me. My grandmother tossed one of them the crown, and the game began. And it was surprisingly fun. The plastic mask got hot, but I didn't mind. I was too caught up in keeping my friends away from me and the crown off my head. And after about 20 minutes, no one had managed to get me. I was laughing and stumbling around, doing my best to not bump into anything. My friend John was calling out to me, and I didn't know if he had the crown or if he was just trying to distract me. Turns out that he was just trying to distract me. I suddenly felt something click over my head, followed by a great cheer from my friends. Because I had finally been crowned. Smiling despite defeat, I went to take the big plastic head off, but found that I couldn't. The neck hole was suddenly smaller, curling tight under my chin and biting into my skin. I tried tugging harder, trying not to panic, the air thick inside the head. What the hell? I wrapped my fingers around the base of the head, pulling up as hard as I could. I felt rough edges cut into me, and I immediately stopped. I could hear my friends laughing at me. I'm sure that I must have looked ridiculous, but at that time, I didn't find any humor in the situation. Sweat dripped into my eyes, and I blinked against the burning sensation. My breath blew back at me from the tight walls of the head, the red lighting filtering through the eye painting, making me dizzy and disoriented. I was suddenly very aware of how claustrophobic the clown head was. I called out for someone to help, doing my best to keep panic from my voice. Still laughing, one of my friends came to my aid. I felt his hands around my ears, and suddenly I screamed as he jerked upward. Pain exploded around my face, and I shoved him away from me, panting. Why couldn't I get this thing off of me? It had been so easy to put on, sliding comfortably over my head with a little room to spare. But now everything was squishing in on me, the opening flush against my throat. I suddenly realized my nose was bent against the plastic, bent painfully to the right. And then I understood what was happening. The clown head was shrinking. I screamed for someone to get my dad, sweat pouring from my face. The head stunk, and the combination of unfiltered breath and sweat made me dizzy. My throat was parched, but my lips were lined with perspiration. I felt the burning fingers of claustrophobia wrapped around my mind. The head squeezed a little tighter. I screamed again for my dad, my vision obscured by the head. I suddenly heard him in front of me and felt his hands trace the outer surface of the prison. His voice changed from amusement to worry in the matter of seconds, and that scared me even more. I tried tugging at the head again, yelling into the plastic dome, explaining that it was getting tighter and tighter. My dad heard the panic in my voice, and I felt him uselessly struggle to remove the source of agony. His fingers traced the now compressed opening at the bottom. He tried to slide his fingers between the lip of the base and my skin, but just ended up choking and gagging me as his knuckles burrowed into my throat. The clown head gripped my head tighter. I wheezed and I sunk to my knees, the heat and lack of oxygen causing my head to swim. My dad was yelling at my friends, instructing them to go retrieve something from the woodshed. I didn't hear much, instead concentrating on my breath. My head throbbed as the hard plastic compressed my skull like a grape waiting to pop. I heard my mom's concerned voice, a shrill inquiry that my dad ignored. I felt his fingers try to pry the head off my throat again. I could tell that I was fading. Panic cracked his voice as he yelled at my friends to hurry. His fingers were back at my throat, digging desperately, trying to give me some kind of relief. I knelt before him, swaying slightly and sucking in hot, stinking air. Suddenly, my father tried to jam his hand further in, and I felt my gag reflex engage, and my stomach rolled as I dry retched into the hot plastic. My body hitched, and I felt another wave coming. I tried to fight it, but it was like trying to stop a train. I vomited into the mask, regurgitating soda and pretzels gushing into the tight space. I gasped, and the smell alone brought another gout rocketing from my lips. It sloshed around my face, filling my ears, the hot bile splashing against my skin with nowhere to go. It was trapped inside the head along with me, and I was drowning in it. It came to just about my nostrils, a slimy, yellowy line below my eyes. And my father heard me gagging inside the head and quickly laid me on my back, the vomit pouring around my eyes and giving me a pocket to breathe. I gasped in the putrid air, and I felt the plastic tighten again, a wet, hard compress that began to fill my visage with darkness. And I felt my strength begin to leave my body. My head was wrapped with an iron grip, and I didn't know how much longer I'd last in its clutches. And suddenly, my friend returned with an item my father had asked for. I heard him instructing me, his voice drowned out by the puke in my ears. He slowly turned me to my side, and I coughed and gagged against the slurping vomit. My nose felt like I was breaking against the walls of my prison. My ears burned and sweat coated my skin. I felt my father slide something cold and hard along the side of my neck, just under the lips of the head. I immediately knew what it was. It was a crowbar. I grit my teeth, tears pouring from my eyes as my dad apologized, his voice cracking with desperation. I howled as he applied pressure. The crowbar burrowed into my neck muscles. And to my relief, I felt the mask give a little, just a slight lift that allowed some of the vomit to trickle out. And suddenly, the clown head tightened again, squeezing my skull harder than I could bear. I thrashed on the ground, screaming in agony, clawing at my head. I felt my skull would explode from the pressure, and the darkness swam closer. I heard my father instruct my friends to hold me still as he readjusted the crowbar. Sweaty hands pinned me to the earth as my head was pushed sideways. I felt my father hovering over me, the cold tongue of the crowbar licking the side of my neck. My father was apologizing over and over, and I knew something bad was about to happen. My muscles bulged in revolt as my dad jammed the crowbar under the lip, digging into my skin and drawing blood. He shoved it in until I felt its hard surface resting against my cheek. I tensed, warm blood streaming down my neck and across my shoulders. I heard my father whisper into my ear to brace myself, and suddenly, overwhelming pressure cut into the side of my face, and I thrashed violently, clutching and tearing at handfuls of grass as pain shot across my cheek and the neck like spreading lightning. The edge of the crowbar crunching into my jaw as my father applied pressure, a last-ditch effort to remove the clown head before it killed me. Tears ran down my face, and red darkness shook my world. Puke and sweat coated my face as I tried to escape the pain. My friends held me in place, and I heard one of them crying. My teeth cracked against each other as my father continued to pull upward, and with a sickening pop, I heard my jaw break. And suddenly I was taken to a level of splintering agony I did not know existed. My tongue waggling and went numb in my mouth. I felt a molar tear from my gums. It tumbled across my tongue like bloody candy. I felt howling darkness rush into me. And as it swallowed me, I felt a sudden surge of cool air as the clown head cracked and finally shattered. And as I blacked out, I felt my father shaking me, clutching me in his arms, his voice fading into nothing. I awoke in the hospital a few hours later, my face wrapped and contorted around some plastic that kept my jaw in place. I felt woozy and sick, an IV bag by my bed dripping relief into my bloodstream. My mother and father were at my side, eyes bloodshot and filled with concern. My grandparents sat on the other side of my bed, my grandmother crying. And as soon as they saw me awake, they began to apologize all at once. My father doing what he did, and my grandparents for exposing me to such horrors. Their voices all babbling into one, and I let my eyes close once again. The drugs pumping through my body, lulling me into a comfortable sleep. And thinking back to that day, I can still feel that horrible clown head, the way that it smelled, and the way that the light filtered through the plastic. the weight of it resting across my skull. It's like one sick joke now. And all these years later, now that I've recovered from the event, I can't help but feel disgusted amusement. Because you see, my jaw has never healed properly, and there's twisted scar tissue lining my cheek where the crowbar cut into me. My jaw is in a constant state of crooked humor, like a painful half-smile. Combined with the scar tissue stretching from my lips, well, some would say that I look kind of like a clown.